All right, we will get things started here. Welcome, Celine Boutier, to the Media Center at the HSBC Women's World Championship. This is your fifth start here, and your best finish here being a tie for 11th. What do you enjoy most about coming back to this tournament every year?
I like Singapore in general, so I always enjoy coming here. I think the organization is always nice, and I like to be, in the city, other stuff to do outside of golf, and the golf course is also always in immaculate conditions, so it's always nice to come.
And speaking of the golf course, there was a new bunker added to 18 this year. How do you think that changes your strategy on 18 for this year?
Yeah, I think it makes it definitely harder. The line is going to be more towards the right, and it makes the fairway more narrow. And I think, I think it's definitely a little bit more tricky, especially maybe for the right pins or back right. So I think it's a good addition. Definitely looks like they've done a really good job with it too. I mean, the bunker looks really great. So I think it was a good addition and definitely makes it harder.
Yeah, and you mentioned the course conditions always being nice. What specifically can you say? The greens, tee boxes, things like that?
I mean, really everything from the tee to the green, and I think the greens are very fast this week in particular and quite firm, so it's definitely a game of precision and knowing where to land, because you get quite a bit of release sometimes. So it's definitely good again this year.
I'll open it up for questions if there's any from anyone out here. All right, I have a few more then. I saw a few photos and content from your photo call opportunity with Ronnie, Lilia, and Danyang this week. How was that experience?
It was really fun. We got to see an attraction that's opening, I think, later this week or next week. So it was kind of cool to see it beforehand, and it was a good group of people and players as well. So it was a fun experience.
Yeah, it looked awesome. And you mentioned earlier too about the support here in Singapore. What can you say about the fans and the community here at Singapore? I've noticed a lot of banners and different posters around the city.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like this city and country is very much behind golf, and especially women's golf. I mean, I feel like since we've been here, it's just always been nice, and I think a lot of players enjoy coming just because the experience is so smooth and very nice from really every perspective.
Mm-hmm. And we talked about it a little bit before, but you won 4 times last year, including one major championship. How would you describe your year as a whole?
Last year or this year?
Last year.
Last year was definitely a very good year for me. I mean, I think I could not have dreamt for it to go better. I feel like I was able to take advantage of the few opportunities that I got when I was in contention, so that was definitely very positive. It's definitely going to be one of the seasons I remember just because of the wins, but also getting my first major, so it was cool.
And when you're sitting down at the end of the year, maybe in the off season, looking at how you're going to write your goals for 2024, and you had such a stellar year last year, how do you go about doing that, not putting so much pressure on yourself?
I think it's definitely tough. I think a lot of the goals will be the same, but I will, most importantly, just try to focus on my game and how I can get it better from week to another. And I think that's kind of taking off the pressure of like performing and having, trying to get as many wins or more wins than last year, which I think is kind of tough. So I'm just gonna try to focus on each week at a time.
I just want to check to see if there's any more questions here. Oh yeah, in the front.
Hi, Celine. I'm Tommy from AMT. Celine, I guess Asian fans in Asia will fondly remember you for your 9-hole playoff last year in Malaysia. Just want to ask you, how do you actually deal with pressure at the highest level, especially when you're in contention, like you mentioned? And second question is, you're obviously ranked 3rd in the world right now, and obviously I think our goals probably be to reach the top of the world rankings. Maybe share about your tactics and goals for this year.
Yeah, I think for the first question about pressure, for me the key has been experience, honestly, because it's hard to really know how you're going to react or how you're going to feel in the situation unless you experience it. And then the more you experience it, the more you feel comfortable with it and you kind of learn how to deal with it. So I think that's the main, that was the main thing for me that I learned from 2022. And I was able to handle it better in 23, so I hope it keeps going that direction. And then as far as my goals for this year, I'm not really worried too much about rankings. Personally, I think obviously it would be a huge deal to be able to get to number one. But again, I'm just trying to focus mostly on the week to week and just try to put myself in the positions as much as I can.
Any more here? I have one more then, if not. Yes.
How much decision making do you put into your equipment, or do you leave it more to your coaching team?
I think ultimately the decision comes to me just because it's a lot about numbers and data, but it's also about how comfortable you feel when you're over it and if you can trust the club to do what you want it to do. So I think part of it is definitely the data, but also you have, the look has to be right and you have to feel comfortable that you can trust it on the course.
Any more here? All right, one last question from me. Yesterday we saw Lexi Thompson and Rose Zhang compete in Capital One's The Match. I don't know if you saw any content from it, but what can you say how coverage like that helps the women's game and LPGA as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's huge just because I feel like we don't really get the same opportunities as the men, and I think to be able to be included in such a fun format, and especially with some of the best players on the men's tour, is definitely bringing more attention to the women. And then I think that's how also, you know, curiosity and being open-minded to even just check out those events, and then you'll have hopefully some interest in watching more of the LPGA and follow more of the women's golf. And I think that's how we get to grow our fan base and get more interest and viewership.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.